Good day everyone, I'm Goddess Maimindaras and today we will talk about the periodic table of elements. This is the concept of periodic table of elements. So the concept is talk about the periodic table organizes the elements in a particular way. A great deal of information about the elements can be gathered from its position in the periodic table. And understanding the organization and plan of the periodic table will help you obtain basic information about each of the 118 known elements. So the periodic table, it is a chart which arranges all of the known elements according to their atomic numbers. So the columns in the periodic table are called families or groups. The rows are called periods. The elements to left of the periodic table are metals, while the elements in the top right are non-metals. All metals are solid at normal temperature, while non-metals are liquid or gaseous. And also metalloids have properties of both metals and non-metals. The various types of metals in periodic table. First is metals, second metalloids, third non-metals. So first we will talk about metals. So metals is are shiny, ductile, malleable, can be found into the thin sheets. A chemical property of metal, it is reaction with water which result in corrosions. So metals are good conductors of heat and electricity and are malleable and ductile. Metals are opaque, lustrous elements that are good conductors of heat and electricity. Most metals are malleable and ductile and, in general, denser than the other elemental substance. Here are the examples of metals. First is the copper wire, the gold bar, and the silver bar, and the materials that can be used in making house. Second, elements that can be found in the table of elements. So it is a metalloid. So metalloids, it has properties of both metals and non-metals. They are solids that can be shiny or dull. They conducted heat and electricity better than metals, but not as well as metals. They are ductiles and malleables. So metalloids are intermediate in their properties. So metalloids can be defined as chemical elements whose physical and chemical properties fall in between the metal and non-metal categories. So examples of metalloids are boron, germanium, silicon, antimony, arsenic, tellurium, and polonium are the 7 most widely recognized metalloids. It can be noted that all 7 of these elements can be found at a regular periodic table in a diagonal region of the P block, which extended from boron. Elements of periodic table is non-metals. So non-metals are poor conductor of heat and electricity. It is also a ductile and malleable. It is also solid non-metals or brittles and break easily. They are dull and many non-metals are gases. So non-metals, it is a chemical element that generally lacks a predominance of metallic properties. They range from colorless gases like hydrogen to shiny solids like carbon as graphite. They are usually poor conductors of heat and electricity and brittle or crumbly when solid, due to their electrons having low mobility. In contrast, metals are good conductors and most are easily flattened into sheets and drawn into wires since their electrons are generally free-moving. Non-metals, atoms, tend to attract electrons in chemical reaction to form examples of non-metals. So first is sulfur, second microsphere, and third is graphite. Let's move on to electronegativity. So what is electronegativity? It is symbolized as X is the tendency for an atom of a given chemical element to attract shared electrons when forming a chemical bond. An atom's electronegativity is affected by both its atomic number and the distance at which its valence electrons reside from the charged nucleus. So electronegativity is a measure of the attraction of an atom for bonding electrons in molecules compared to that of other atoms. The electronegativity values according to Linus Pauling, an American chemist, are dimensionless quantities that range from slightly less than 1 for the alkali metals to a maximum of 4 for fluorine. So what is ionization? So ionization is an energy of an atom is the amount of energy that is required to remove an electron from a mole of an atom in the gas space. So ionization energy, it is the quantity of energy that is isolated. Gaseous atom in the ground electronic state must absorb to discharge an electron, resulting in a quotient. Electron affinity. It is symbolized as X is the tendency for an atom of a given chemical element to attract shared electrons when forming a chemical bond. An atom electronegativity is affected by both its atomic number and the distance in which its valence electron reside from the charged nucleus. So, the electron affinity is defined as the energy changing that occurs when an atom gains an electron, releasing energy in the process. Let's remember that an electron is negatively charged, so when an atom gains an electron, it becomes a negative ion. For example, the electron affinity of chlorine has the negative sign, which shows us the energy that is released to add an electron. So what is atomic mass? So atomic mass refers to the weight of an atom. It also derived by adding the number of protons with the numbers of neutrons. So the mass of an atom of a chemical element expressed in atomic mass units. It is approximately equivalent to the number of protons and neutrons in the atom, or to the average number, allowing for the relative abundance of the different. What is atomic number? So atomic number is to how many protons on any of elements has, and atomic number has no two elements have the same number of protons. So the number of protons in the nucleus, which is the same as the number of electrons in the atom. It is also the name of the element's common name, the symbol in a 1 or 2 letter symbol that represent the elements.